I'd like to call the February 18th meeting of the Wyoming Charter School Authorizing Board to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we all say the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United
States of
America,
and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation
under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Elaine, would you call roll, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joe Filer,
Present.
Steve Lupian,
Here.
Alan Buss,
Here.
Jill Bramlett,
Present.
John Masters,
Here.
Doug Chamberlain,
Here.
Fred Von Ahrens,
Present.
Janine Bateski.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So
Madam
moved.
Chair. Yep, so moved. I'll second it.
Who moved it?
Lupian.
Steve, okay, good. Any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the agenda, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Great. The next item on our agenda is the consideration of the Alpine Amendment. And I think I would like to start with our attorney, Mr. Williams. This is a continuation of the discussion from yesterday, and as you recall, there were several questions that came up, and I would just like Mackenzie to take a couple minutes and tell us what his research has shown in terms of the answer to those questions. And thank you, Mackenzie, for the hard work and the short turnaround.
Welcome, Madam Chair. Essentially, I think the crosswalk I provided more or less speaks for itself. I tried to go through all of the different concerns in the Q&A document and cross-reference items of the contract that would be relevant to those questions. I have provided that to the board members. And so at this point, I guess I don't really have anything to add to what I put in writing.
Thank you. Saying that, John Masters.
Question, Madam Chairman. Is that a document that we can make public?
Madam Chair, it is currently attorney work product. You as the client, the board as a whole, owns the privilege for that. So if the board chooses collectively takes action to make that to waive its privilege, then you certainly can do that. It's not my place to say whether you should or shouldn't.
Okay. So on to consideration of the Alpine Amendment. Can I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the contract amendment received for the Alpine School.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
So the way we're going to structure this today is I will take any comments on those that are voting in favor of the amendment. Any comments? I know we spent a lot of time on this yesterday, but any comments?
Madam Chair, I'll speak.
Yes, Fred.
I appreciated the day to go through the whole process and get board members up to speed. I'd like to say to start out with is that perfection is often the enemy of progress. I believe our focus has been on our students, our future students, and choice for families and providing schools of choice. Reflecting on Alpine's application, I had concerns about APA, and I think several of us did. I saw the resolve of what I interpreted as the resolve of the community and supported the community to go forward with a contract that we have now, and now we're in an amendment. When I heard that the community had issues. We knew initially they had some. I really was impressed with the fact that the community got together, recognized that Alpine may not be the best for the community, and they came forward and worked on this amendment to go with Academica, which is a nationwide proven, from what we can tell from my research, very good program. And one of our schools, Wyoming Classical, who is proven to be, even though they're new, doing very well. I think that whole process of going from one ESP to essentially two, which we're calling a charter management organization, I think that says a lot for the community. I think they've done their homework. I clearly, after going up there, and Doug, I appreciate you encouraging us to go because it was a great experience to spend time up there. And in their words, the temperature is way down ever since, and the support is way up. When I look forward, and it feels like we're pretty much where we were when Prairie View was getting ready to start. The community support was high. The support from the board, and in the proximity, John Masters, Doug did a nice job getting up there to help them go through some barriers to support that community and support the startup. I fully understand that we have a lot to learn going forward, and I think McKinsey did a wonderful job laying out that we need to do a better job with internal processes, criteria, and we will continue to strengthen our contracts as we go forward. But I'm also extremely proud of the way we started, where we did not have policy one, the amount we've learned over these roughly 2 years, and where we are today. Again, I fully support the amendment, and I will do everything I can to help that school succeed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Fred. Anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Doug.
I want to apologize again for missing out on all that discussion yesterday. But to expedite things, could McKenzie tell us any changes that he made as a result of the meeting yesterday? Could he identify those to move us hopefully to a final vote?
Sure, Mackenzie.
Madam Chair, I did not make any changes to any of my assessments or evaluations from yesterday to today. What I did was try to separately provide this sort of crosswalk, and Mr. Chamberlain, I apologize, I don't remember exactly when you joined the meeting yesterday, but part of the charge yesterday was to try to see where the previous contract intersected with this, with the concerns that the board had raised. And on my review, it appeared primarily concerns that were initially raised because of the unified governance model, which was discarded throughout that discussion process. And so I did my best to try to essentially go through and identify the provisions of the contract that seemed to relate most closely to the concerns that were expressed in those documents. So nothing changed from yesterday to today in terms of my assessments. I did try to provide more information based on the board's discussion yesterday.
Madam Chair, if I could follow up with another question.
Yes, Doug.
I noticed in the material you sent out, McKenzie, for today, there's a common statement in several of those subparagraphs. It says, it refers to something that says was abandoned in the previous, or abandoned from the previous application or something. I didn't quite understand that.
Yes. So, Madam Chair, that was a reference to my understanding of the original. There were several ideas floated forward about how Alpine could proceed forward under its current charter. And one of the early ideas was this structure of a unified governance structure. And during that process, early on, that unified governance idea was abandoned. And my understanding is that the school moved forward with the idea that is currently before you, which is the education
Service
service provider as part of that. So in other words, when I'm referencing the unified governance structure that was abandoned during the process I'm referring to is the process of Alpine essentially brainstorming what solution they wanted to bring to the board. And there were some board members, I believe, who were part of that discussion as well. And so that's the process that I'm referring to in those aspects. The reason that I think that's important to note, and the reason I noted that, is because some of these concerns were clearly, in my reading, they were only raised as concerns due to the prospect of the unified governance model. In other words, I think there was some recognition that there were some issues early on with the unified governance model, and that's what prompted these questions. These questions are not as applicable to the education service provider model that they have settled on in proposing. Does that help clarify?
Madam Chair, yeah, Mackenzie, I appreciate that. I just had trouble tracking it because I hadn't thought about it necessarily because I didn't have the previous writing. And so I was kind of dealing from an empty hand there. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I think that that sometimes I forget or I'm unaware of exactly what information everybody has. And so that's my fault for not being clear about the premise for what I was trying to offer.
No problem. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Joe Filer?
Madam Chair, I'm reminded some time ago when we went through a process with Wyoming Classic Academy, and I don't recall how long ago it's been, but it was some time, and they had their struggles. They lost the contract on their building, I believe. They had a principal that left or didn't have a principal secured. I think there were some other issues. And as I recall, as a board, we really understood those issues and recognized that sometimes it was out of their control as far as trying to move things forward. So that seemed like a pretty heavy lift for what they had to do versus this amendment. So I guess in my viewpoint is that, again, this amendment's almost rather minor for what we did with Cheyenne Classic Academy. And so I'm in support of the amendment.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking in favor?
Madam Chair, this is Alan. I spoke in favor of it yesterday, and I'll just reiterate that support today.
Thank you. John Masters?
Chair, no, sorry.
Oh, John, are you raising your hand in favor or opposed?
I'm raising my hand to ask a question of personal privilege, which is whether the board would consent to the release of the crosswalk document as a public document.
Well, can we wait till, we'll do that after we get done here, please.
We certainly are, ma'am.
Jill?
I'm just going to support everything that has been said. I'm certainly in favor of the amendment, and I think Alpine is determined and ready to open a school that's great for kids. And that's really what this board's all about, is supporting kids in the community in which they live. And they have done more work than we've ever asked. And so I'm certainly in favor of this.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor? Seeing none, anyone want to speak opposed? Well, then I will remind us that the motion is to approve the WCA-Wyoming-Alpine Charter School Amendment.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
one quick question, and I'm not trying to open Pandora's box, but apparently there were issues of contention yesterday. Are there any of those issues that have been resolved or are of significance before we take this vote?
That's what Mackenzie addressed.
Mackenzie's work in putting that out as I read through it for the meeting today.
That was the purpose of Mackenzie's work, Doug, to address those issues.
Madam Chair, if the board is ready to take a vote, I would like to ask for clarification on the motion. I think this will be important about whether the motion is to encompass the specific revisions as Alpine presented them or as I have suggested to you that you adopt. I think it's important to know which of those two sort of versions the board is voting on.
That's a.
Who made the motion?
Alan. I was wondering about that. So yes, I would like to amend my motion, and that is that to approve the Alpine contract amendment as with the suggested revisions or the recommended revisions from our legal counsel to substitute CMO with ESP for the education service provider, as that is what is referenced in Wyoming statute.
Second.
That's a long motion.
Who did you second, Doug?
I did.
Okay.
But Madam Chairman, it may require that the person who originally seconded consent to the
That's what I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
Well, who originally seconded? Steve Lupien did.
Oh, did I? Yeah, no, then I consider this a friendly amendment.
Thank you. Elaine, would you call roll, please?
Madam Chair, are we voting on the revisions or on the amendment as revised?
It was a friendly the amendment as revised.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joe Filer,
In favor, aye.
Steve Lupien,
Aye.
Doug Chamberlain,
Aye.
Alan Buss,
Aye.
Jill Bramlett,
Aye.
John Masters,
Aye.
Fred Von Ahrens,
Aye.
Chairman Bayteski.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. I know this has been a heavy lift, but I think it sets some precedent. Mr. Masters, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Chairman, I move that the crosswalk document prepared by our council be made a public document attached to the minutes of this meeting.
I second that for discussion.
My hesitation with your attached to the minutes from this meeting is the minutes will come out later. I would suggest it be released immediately.
Madam Chairman, I'm fine with that, but I think it certainly ought to be attached to the minutes when the minutes
As
are
well,
released.
right. Mr. Lupien, do you agree?
Yes, I consider that a friendly amendment.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I will go ahead and basically prepare a version removing the attorney work product header, so that, and I'll get that to Elaine.
Super. Thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I wanted to thank Mr. Williams for getting that document to us as expeditiously as he did. And it was very helpful, both in setting out what the original concerns were, why we were interchanging the terms CMO and ESP, as well as answering the specific questions about responsibility. So I thought that was very helpful, and I appreciated his work.
As well.
Great, thank you.
Good job, Mackenzie.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thank
I
you,
would have had
Mackenzie.
it done sooner, but
Yep.
I had a new employee start today, so I had to show her around and do all those sorts of things as well.
You get a little help. That's good.
Madam Chair,
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Yes, Doug.
Could I have the privilege of the floor?
Sure.
Steve, welcome back, partner.
Thank you. Feeling good, moving much better. It's great to be great. I'm about a mile from my house, so I'm slowly moving closer. So,
Good for you.
but I'm now walking in using a walker, which is a big improvement since the last time that we've chatted. So now I just need to get stronger, and that's when you spend 4 months in bed, your body changes quite a bit. So thank you all for your support and kind words. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Did your wife leave you the keys to the car?
Yeah. Remember, my car is self-driving.
Oh,
So
That worries me.
so be careful on the road when you see a Tesla.
moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is a Finance Committee update.
I think it's my update, is that, Madam Chair?
Oh, well, mine says, I don't know why when I print it, it doesn't all print, but
Sorry. I can do either one. I think I'm doing both anyways.
Madam Chairman, I don't know that we approved the prior meeting minutes.
Yeah, we probably need to do that.
That might have been skipped.
are they in here?
They were attached to the agenda, I think.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to circle back and was that a motion, Mr. Masters?
Sure.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? I understand there's people who have their hand raised for public comment, which we have at the end of the agenda. We're almost to the end of the agenda, so hold those hands. We'll get to you in just a minute. Is there a Finance Committee update, or what's next? John, John Waller?
I can. Yeah. Why don't I go next, and then just a quick report, Executive Director report. A couple things for the board. Want you to know that our House bill that gives us the additional time and encourages flexibility with our application process is moving through, and we're making progress on that. I want to thank both Janine and Carrie Klein. They are really keeping up with what legislative action is going on. They're cluing me in when I need to be over at the Capitol, and so we're really steering that thing through. It's very positive so far. I wanted to thank Alpine for their hospitality. When we were there, we were able to completely tour their school complex. We met with their board. We attend their board meeting, and again, I felt very welcome, and I love visiting that community. So I wanted to thank them for that. I wanted to clue you in that a number of schools are currently in the process of writing grants. I'm involved in the federal grants and their approval. I've asked them to keep me kind of up to speed too on the other grants that they're pursuing, just so I can lend support and keep track of those as well. But always looking for additional funds for programming and student achievement, and so I will keep you guys posted as we move forward with that. And John, I see you've got a question. I'll be right there. Last thing is just the Bloom training. We did do the special ed training with Bloom. It was an excellent training. It was a half-day training, and we covered a lot of ground in that training. Unfortunately, right before our meeting started, I got a email from our facilitator, and she is going in for surgery. So we're going to have to push our next training back to May, and I'll talk to the leadership team tomorrow about that. But it was a great training, and I again appreciate Bloom's support and high quality training that they've offered us. So Mr. Masters, question, Madam Chair?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Question for our Executive Director. Two, actually. You mentioned the status of the legislation, and by that I assume that it went from one house to the other house, and it hasn't gone over, hasn't crossed over yet?
Crossover hasn't happened yet. No.
Yeah, crossover's right.
Okay, so that would be
second reading, John.
Okay, so is it on schedule to be fully considered and possibly passed, or okay? Second question dealt with the grants in our role as LEA, is it required that we, as the LEA, either apply or approve the application? And if so, do you plan to bring those to the board for consideration?
Well, the ones I sign off on are the federal grants, and that's what you guys delegated authority for me to do. I don't typically the Title I, Title II grants. I don't think I sign off on the other ones. I'll get clarification on that. I do want to keep you guys kind of apprised of things that they're pursuing. But my understanding is that I'm only signing off and approving the federal grants that are through WDE.
Madam Chair, follow up?
Yes.
If you learn that you should have board approval, my request would be that you approach the chairman and request a special meeting of the board for that so that we don't hold the grants up for consideration.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I will just say this. I think John is doing a yeoman's job. If we put a couple more things on his plate, you know, he could totally lose his mind. Between bouncing back
I'm halfway there.
capital and, you know, all the other stuff. I think that this Alpine approval will certainly alleviate some of the burden from him, but it's a crazy time in Cheyenne right now. I'll just say that. And yeah. I think Elaine, you're next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to give an update on the intent to apply. We have received 2 applications. That was the intent to apply form was open from January 1st through January 31st. One from the Wyoming Classical Academy Riverton campus, and then a second one for Montessori School of Cheyenne, which is looking to open a 1 through 3 school, charter school. So those are the only 2 we received. That doesn't mean, as you guys know, we couldn't mandate the intent to apply. So it doesn't mean that we won't get more, but those are the 2 that are have communicated that they want to apply at this point. Tomorrow, NACSA will be in conjunction with WDE hosting a training for the review team, the application review team. So we'll be doing that tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. And they have sent out a video. NACSA sent a video to the review team for review. And so between that and this live training tomorrow, I think we're in a good spot to have a really robust review of the applications. We do have the application guidebook, which is basically just explains how to apply for the charter schools. And that will be on our website, hopefully by Friday, no later probably than Monday, I would say. But we've been working really diligently to make sure it's ADA compliant and that it's really a good guidebook that's easy to understand. As you know, the application window will open on March 1st, which is a Sunday, but I'll go ahead and open it up on that Sunday, and it'll close on March 31st. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of Elaine?
Real quickly, Madam Chairman.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Real quickly.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, I know we were very sensitive to the sequence of applications prior times, but with the removal of the cap, I don't think that sequencing is as critical. So if she were to delay opening it, I would certainly say take Sunday and enjoy Sunday.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So John, I don't know which John I'm talking to, but I have Finance Committee update on here.
Well, I'll start and then I'll turn it over to John, if that's okay, Madam Chairman. So the Finance Committee met. We met with Mr. Carroll and had a very productive meeting. Among the things we discussed were the NACSA contract, which Mr. Waller is in the process of tracking to make sure we are getting the deliverables that we expected to get. And if we're not getting them, is that okay? Did we substitute something else? And the outgrowth of that discussion was, if we get towards the end of this year and we want to extend the contract, we need to get an extension proposed, reviewed by the Attorney General and the Attorney General's contract supervision department. And probably we would need to do that no later than our May meeting. So we're going to try to have as good a handle as possible on whether there will be sufficient funds in that contract to allow for a useful extension. That also may highlight some other things that we ought to be discussing, which are, we have funds, or will have funds, from our administrative fee. And the executive director has been looking for a data management software and has been soliciting information. At some point, we probably need to propose a request for proposal and go through the department. I think it's A&I does that, John, and put it out for bids so that we can see what the actual bids are.
Yes.
And yeah, so, thanks, Steve. But that process is kind of in its infancy now. And if people were interested in understanding the types of services that type of software would assist, I think they should speak up and become engaged in that process. I know John has learned a lot, and so I'm hoping that anybody who has an interest in that will raise their hand or talk to John or talk to me, because I think we want to have a very not comprehensive necessarily, but we want to have an RFP that goes out pretty soon, which then kind of begs the question to some extent of where do we stand with the administrative fee funds. And keep in mind that these funds are not subject to reversion to the state. These are special revenue funds and they carry over. Nevertheless, we probably need to have a pretty firm understanding of where our budget stands as it comes out of the legislature to know what we might need to pay out of our administrative fee rather than we might currently be expecting to be from the state legislature. So those two things are kind of working in tandem right now. And since we have very little impact on what the legislature does, nor do we want to have an impact on what the legislature does there, I think we'll just have to react to it after the session is over and we learn what the next budget looks like. Seems like there was one. The committee in discussions with Mr. Carroll noted that Mr. Carroll had taken some of the administrative fee funds and allocated them into various expenditure categories. And we use some of those funds and have been using some of those funds for things like out-of-state travel. We basically are pretty much on budget or ahead of budget in almost all of our categories, but largely because he did that unilaterally. And I'm not being critical of him doing that unilaterally, but I hope that in the future we can get to a point where if it looks like we are going to fully expend one of our budget categories, he and I and possibly John and others can look at it and then make a recommendation to this board about that type of a transfer so that the board is more fully appraised of what's going on there. Then the last thing, and again, that kind of grew out of this discussion, which was occasionally we have what I will call one-off or somewhat unique items that the board is asked to would come from our budget, but weren't necessarily part of a budget discussion earlier. And typically some things like that, I think it's probably asking too much for the Department of Education to make a decision whether that should be paid, if it's a unique type or a one-time expense. So we've asked Mr. Carroll when and if they can identify such expenditures, that they bring them to the Finance Committee's attention. He then suggested that to expedite the process so that we don't have to move it up to this board for approval, that the executive director and the chairman of the Finance Committee, if they believe the expenditure is appropriate, up to a limit of $1,000, we have the authority to make that decision rather than delay it and not have a decision until this board can consider it. So that's a recommendation that the Finance Committee made, and I would so move if that's appropriate, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I would suggest that that needs to get put into our policy. I don't think that we should just
I'm
arbitrarily.
fine with that. I think that's an excellent idea.
Thank you.
I don't know if I have a second, though.
Oh,
I'll
John
second
Mueller?
that.
mine relates to something different. Do we need to finish that up?
Fred, do I have a second?
I'll second that, sure.
Madam
Any
Chair,
discussion about John's suggestion?
Madam Chair, we discussed whether the limit should be $500 or $1,000, or what the limit should be, and how many people it should require for the approval, and kind of hit on this area. But I'm certainly amenable to things being changed.
I will just share this from my own personal experience. When I had to make those decisions, it was required that I be bonded
I'm not sure I can be bonded.
and pay a bonded, and the district paid a bonded fee for that.
Well, do we
Madam
want to do
Chair?
that? I mean, I could be bonded, but it's cost money, so it's
I understand that. Elaine?
Can I have you repeat the motion for the minutes, please? For clarity.
I'll see if I can state it coherently. That the policy manual be amended to permit irregular expenditures not exceeding $1,000 to be approved by joint action of the finance chair and the executive director. Does that meet with the second approval?
Yes, thank you.
Like I said, I would suggest that we fess up and do bonding for those positions.
Well,
Madam Chair,
Yes.
it strikes me, and I'm not sure if we actually discussed this in this detail or not, but somewhere I think the chair of the board should be involved in any over expenditure of this limit. Either just be informed by the executive director or something.
I think the whole board should, Doug.
Pardon me?
I think the whole board should be informed. But
Well, then you're our representative, but to have a committee chair and the ED arrive at a decision to overexpend a policy limit, I just don't think that's a good idea. Nothing to do with the personalities of the two people involved right now.
Madam Chair?
yes, John.
Well, we could certainly amend, and I think it would be a friendly amendment, that any such approved expenditures be brought forward by the Finance Committee at its next meeting. I think that'd be fine. I'm a little more concerned about the bonding, because I know the process that it takes to go through the bonding, the application forms and everything. And what we're trying to do is minimize work rather than create work.
I understand.
So if we do want to go with bonding, I'd suggest that I should withdraw the motion and we should just bring it forward. These things happen so infrequently that it's hardly worth worrying
That'd
about.
be good.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Fred.
would it be okay that if we make a friendly amendment to the proposal that we investigate this and then come back to the board with a recommendation?
That would
I
be
like that.
that would be my preference. I just want to make sure all are protected in this.
Sure. No, I understand that. I hadn't considered that. And maybe that's something our executive director can track down. If that's okay. I know you have very little to do, John.
Okay.
We might be able to steal something from another committee and draft it, work it up.
Okay. And I have one other thing when we're done with this topic here.
So essentially, that's I think a motion to defer consideration or to lay on the table or postpone action or something. Is that what you're suggesting, Fred?
To look into this and come back with a proposal, yes, if that's okay with you,
Okay.
John.
Yeah, no, I think the more information, the better. So, Madam Chairman, can we just postpone this to the next meeting?
Sure, that'd be great.
All right.
So Madam Chair, just for clarification, the motion is withdrawn and deferred for the next meeting. Is that correct?
Well, it's not
It's tabled
withdrawn.
until the next meeting.
It's not withdrawn. It's just postponed.
Thank you.
Tabled.
I think that concludes my portion of the report. John has some items he wants to talk about.
Well, just one item in particular, and I don't want to take too long here, but one of the topics we did talk about at the finance meeting, we talked pretty extensively about, was accountability related to NACSA and keeping the board in the loop about what NACSA has been doing. It became clear to me that I think I own some of this problem. I've been working so frantically with NACSA, but I don't think I've been always keeping the board up to date on what we're doing, the products we're producing, and I recognize that. And so, already tomorrow in your Thursday update, I'm going to start sharing that information with you guys. Tomorrow, you're going to see what products we've produced, a little bit about a timeline, and I want to do a better job of just communicating. We're doing a whole bunch, and I am heavily reliant on NACSA right now, and I just think I need to do a better job of keeping you guys in the loop. I'm moving so fast that I don't think I'm always doing a good job of telling you guys these are projects we're working on, these are things we've completed, and so I just wanted to share that with you because it's important, and I want to be accountable. They want to be accountable, but and I think, quite honestly, it'll be impressive to you to see the stuff that we're kicking out together. So I just wanted to share that bit too.
John Masters, did you have a question?
No, Madam Chair, I wanted to emphasize that we placed an awful lot on our executive director's shoulders. He has no staff. He has the assistance of the department through the liaison, but a lot of these things are peculiar to this board. And NACSA has been, in many ways, fulfilling the role of a staff for our executive director. And I really appreciate that. I realize it's perhaps beyond the scope of the contract and the amendment to the contract, but I'm glad that John recognizes that and he's going to keep us informed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes our business. As you've noticed, and I think we had this last month, there's a classification called future agenda items. John and Elaine, I would like to make sure that you put the RFP for data management under that category as well.
Good idea. Yep.
Joe Filer, you'll see that the career tech education is under there, and presentation of the application process. Dr. Buss?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to make myself available for when we start looking at software programs for the
Awesome.
database.
Thank you.
That's great.
We wrestle with similar things here in the college, and I'm responsible for that. So
Great. Mackenzie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we start getting into the renewal system, of course, a young man's thoughts turn to charter school contracts. And, we worked up this last contract that we had with Alpine, but of course, I'm interested in always improving. Since you have recently had occasion to receive copies of the Alpine contract, there are already a few things that I might suggest changing, but I would like to encourage any board members, if you review that and have some things that you might want to suggest to me. I can't promise that I will make that part of my recommendations, but I would love to hear any comments about that from any board members. Please contact me directly with any suggestions about some things that you think might be appropriate or desirable to add in the future iteration of our charter school contracts.
Thank you. Actually, I can't remember what it was, but I came across one last night, and so I will thank you. I appreciate that.
And I have a few on my list as well.
Madam Chair, real quickly, can I reiterate that if we plan to carry over or use funds that were appropriated, we need to be on top of that. And I don't know what the other committees and other members might have in mind, but Finance Committee certainly welcomes assisting that process.
Okay, thank you. I would like to dedicate our next meeting, if folks are okay with this, to basically, I I would say, putting the framework in place as we're moving forward toward renewal, because we're not that far out. So I would like to take, I believe we've approved 2 of the pieces of the framework. We've approved the finance piece of it and the governance piece of it. Is that correct, John Waller?
That is correct.
And the third one is the academic piece of it. We need to get that approved. And I think I would also like to bring forward on short order the ready to open document so that we can review that and approve it. So I would like folks, once, John Waller, can we get this stuff out to people like now so that for the next meeting, people have a chance to review it so that we can actually have a meaningful conversation and really get it approved and behind us. And so then we will have all the frameworks approved, including the ready to open document.
Yeah, it's funny you'd say that. The academic one is coming out tomorrow in my Thursday update, but I will also send out the ready to open document to you guys, and I'll get that out tomorrow. Okay, so look for that tomorrow. Look for the academic one; they're coming to you, and we're still. I'm still at a point where I would love feedback and ideas on those documents, because the sooner we can get that done, I think the better off we are for all our schools. So good. Yes, I will get that out.
Thank you, John Masters.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
You just muted yourself.
I think in my mind, at least, the ready to open document is part of the application process. And is that coming from the application committee, or is there more that we need to prove besides the ready to open document, I guess is my question. Do we need
I don't know. I'll turn to Dr. Buss.
Yeah.
This is something we've been discussing, and so I believe that is coming from us. Is that right, John Waller?
It's correct. It's still what I would consider in draft form. We have taken a cursory look at it, but I don't know if we've really delved into it all the way yet. So I'd love for that group to take one more look at it, but I'm going to send it out please share input with us, and we're going to just discuss it in our meeting too. So
and if I may, the structure right now is basically just an Excel spreadsheet with the requirements or the pieces that we want the schools to be able to address. And the way we created that was basically taking a look at the previous application and what we moved from the application itself to the year 0 or to the ready to open document. So it was a matter of starting with the application and saying, okay, what can we do to simplify, as was discussed yesterday, what can we do to simplify this application so that the burden of some of these decisions is delayed somewhat, so that schools can apply without necessarily knowing who their headmaster is or how much lunch is going to cost or those kinds of things. So.
Something that was mentioned a little bit earlier was about when we figure out what our budget is. If I read the tea leaves right now, I would suggest to you that this session is going to go, they've added an additional 3 days, which gives them the ability to potentially overturn any vetoes the governor may have. My thought is that this budget is probably going to go until the end of till March the 11th.
Madam Chairman, real quickly.
Yes.
What is the date for our next regular meeting? Is it the 11th or the 18th?
it's the 18th.
The 18th.
Okay. So we should have, it appears to me, a little bit of time to consider what the legislature has completed.
I shouldn't say this, please. I don't think we're on the radar right now, which is a good thing.
Right. But we might need to adjust our lives according to what they do.
More than you know. I believe there's probably other legislation that's going through that will impact our schools.
Yeah, there is.
At this point, Elaine, can I open it up for public comment? And my apologies to Mr. Donnelly.
Madam Chair, Mr. Donnelly is no longer on, so I'm not seeing any hands up at this time.
Does anybody have any public comment?
Oh, we have
Amy.
Yep.
Amy, I would like it if you could please explain to the board what we're doing Saturday night.
And thank you. Madam Chairman, I caught part of your question as I was being led into the room.
You, for some reason, you are much, much softer
Really
than
quiet.
everybody else.
Yell.
You can have you guys stare at my forehead. I apologize. I did not hear your question as I was being led into the room.
I think after you finish your comments, I would like you to explain to folks what you're doing Saturday night.
Okay. Well, I didn't have much to say other than thank you. After the last couple months, after our meeting yesterday, it was fairly emotional, and so I was just blown away and grateful to see a unanimous decision on our amendment. So, thank you. Saturday, we're throwing a party. We are having a fundraiser gala, and as seems to be the way things go around here, we threw it out to the community. 4 weeks out, we had no interest. 3 weeks out, we had one sponsor, and 2 weeks out, we have a sold out venue. So we're looking forward to it.
The reason I ask her to bring that up is, to me, when I reflect on this and I reflect to their golf outing they had last fall, it really, when you say, 175 people from Alpine came for dinner, that really, to me, demonstrates the community support for where they're heading.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Doug.
I have a quick question for Amy. I'm really curious why you were locked out of the room where we were discussing this. No, you said you were trying to get in the room. That was supposed to be a joke.
We need a little levity.
Thank you.
I will say, Amy, could you, not to put you on the spot, but since Fred and John and I were the only three that were able to go down to Alpine last Thursday, could you perhaps share a very brief update that was shared with us in terms of where you are with the building, where you are,
Yes. Give me one moment to pull my notes up from the other day.
I will say, folks, one other thing that became blatantly obvious to me as I sat there last Thursday was, so when we had the original hearing, a lot of what we heard was that people wanted a school in Alpine because their kids were being bused too far. I will say the tenor of the discussion that happened last Thursday was very different to me. The tenor was more around, they really wanted their kids to have the kind of curriculum and education that was being offered by Hillsdale. Oh, we lost her.
No, she's here.
Oh, there. Okay.
Here.
Yeah, to answer your first question on our buildings, the buildings are in place. We've taken full advantage of this pathetic winter. It's been a blessing not to have to plow and deal with all of that. Internally, plumbing is nearly finished. HVAC is in process. The IT and alarm logic systems should hopefully be wrapped up here by the end of the month. The goal is beginning of March to have all the guts of the building put back together and operational so that we can put the ceiling back in place, patch up any drywall that got chipped in the move. Of course, get the carpets cleaned, do our final thorough cleaning. We are hoping to have a certificate of occupancy beginning of April to be able to start doing tours, parents' nights in our building. Part of the fundraiser on Saturday, we still have, of course, to do our parking lot. Of course, that'll have to wait till the snow melts off. And we have a design firm that is doing pro bono work to design our playground and outdoor space. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. We'd be happy to submit some mock-up designs that have been given to us.
Yeah.
I think, Amy, there's been a lot of pro bono work that has been given to put these buildings together. Is that not right? I mean, I thought Dave mentioned over 50 contractors have dedicated their time.
Yeah, we have, and I don't know the man hours total on that, but we've got plumbers and electricians who are doing the labor for free. Other disciplines who are just charging us cost only on materials. So yeah, I have no idea. We'll have to figure it out. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars in donated time and talent.
Yeah.
Once again, just to me demonstrates the community support behind what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Madam
thank
Chair.
you. Yes.
I just want to add, we got done with the tour of the school and I was so excited about it. And I got outside and Dave said, you didn't take a single picture. So I ran back in and I took pictures and they're awful. I didn't do the best job, but I'm still going to send them out to all you guys. My comment, I guess, from being a principal for way too long, I really just personally, I like the instructional layout of that school. I think it's friendly and inviting. And so I'm going to send those out to you. But look at Dave's, if they you guys give a better pictures. I just was really disappointed, but I had a short time frame and you guys are kind of on me about hurry up. We got to go to coffee. So, but I will send those pictures out to all you guys to look at for the campus and then just the different instructional spaces, office space, bathrooms, things like that. So I'll send this out to everybody.
I would just add, we have a couple beautiful pictures of the migrating elk walking right past the school.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So
that's great.
Imagine being a second grader looking out the window, seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else? Any questions? Anyone else have any public comment? And like I said, I apologize to Russ Donnelly that we missed him.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Doug.
either Amy or Fred, I became aware this morning of the actual cost of the 1%, what that meant. Would either one of you like to clarify that? Because I think it's very interesting.
Amy, you and I talked about it this morning. Go for it.
Yeah, just to offer some clarification. The question yesterday was, how much are we paying for our support services from APA to our new system? So let me get this up. So the previous contract with APA, they were going to charge us a flat campus fee of $175,000 per year, plus $650 per student. And that was for, all combined services. With our new setup with Wyoming Classical Academy as our CMO, again, just providing training, support, branding, they are charging us 1% of our average daily membership, and half of that percent can be reimbursable for if we send teachers to training or however we work that out in the future. Additionally, we are paying Academica as our ESP $850 per student. So significantly less expensive overall.
Does that answer your question, Doug?
It wasn't a question. It was made available to me, and I didn't want to be the one to announce it. I thought it was exciting to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, as it was mentioned earlier, that the temperature has really gone way down in terms of pushback. I think I'm seeing push up versus push back. Elaine, you don't see anybody else that wants to participate, huh?
Madam Chair, at this time, there are no other hands raised.
All right.
Madam Chair, I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, guys. This has been a heavy lift and we got through it, and I think it sets a precedent. And place where we need to start to improve the process as we move forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye, all.
Bye.